Hey, what's up, guys? Spencer Rhodes here. So, T-Dog is a character that was in the first 3 seasons of The Walking Dead. He didn't really have a big role in the story. He didn't really get a lot of lines or a lot of character development. He did manage to be in 20 episodes total, and he died about a quarter of the way into season 3. Overall, he's really not that big of a character. He's not like Glenn or like Daryl. He never was like Glenn or Daryl, even when he was around. He just never was that big of a character. But he is somewhat popular just because he lived so long. This was back in, the very, literally the beginning of the show, the first 3 seasons, where there really weren't any background characters or background extras. Now there's like 20 characters, Now in season 9 there's like 20 background extras, 20 background characters that you might see in 40 episodes even if they don't have a lot of lines. And that's just because there's like 6-7 different communities at this point and there's so many characters. But back in the early days of The Walking Dead, there was just T-Dog. T-Dog was the background extra. He was the guy in the background that would keep surviving every episode. Season 1, there was a relatively big camp of characters, but they all pretty much got wiped out, and then there was just like 12 survivors left at the end of season 1, and T-Dog was one of them. And T-Dog was pretty much the only major character, the only character that wasn't a main character or a major character that survived season 1. And then he survived season 2. And he dies in season 3, episode 4, Killer Within. Now, I really kind of liked T-Dog back when I first watched The Walking Dead on Netflix back in like 2013. It was like my senior year of high school. They hadn't even gotten to Merle's death yet. That's when I started watching the show. I watched like the first 2 seasons of Netflix with my mom, and I really liked T-Dog for some reason. He was almost like he was like my favorite character. He was like one of my favorite characters. I don't know why. It's kind of hard to explain. I was just so used to seeing like the chill black guy getting killed early in these type of stories, and I was like, I kind of want to see this guy make it. Like, I mean, he was helpful. I mean, he was like a good person. He didn't let Merle manipulate him into killing Rick or anything, and he tried to be helpful. And there was an episode where it was just, I think it's called Vados or Vados, where it's just like Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and T-Dog, just them 4 like going off on adventures and shit. Like, that was kind of cool. Like Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and T-Dog. And I wish we had more scenes of those 4. I mean, at least they all made it to like the beginning of season 3. But yeah, they never gave T-Dog a lot of lines. They never gave him a lot of screen time. That's another thing that he's kind of famous for. Like, he didn't talk very much. He did get lines. He did talk. He talked more than a lot of fans give him credit. But I mean, he was never really that relevant to the story, or was a part of a huge plot. Pretty much, other than possibly the episode where he dies. That's about it. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like the character. Season 3 was it's definitely one of the weakest seasons of the show. It has a lot of problems. But the episode where Lori and T-Dog die, Killer Within, that's, even though I'm kind of sad because T-Dog dies, but it is a strong episode, and it's one of my favorite episodes of the season. So, as to, whether or not I agree with his death, and I agree with the timing of his death, and should they have killed him off so soon into season 3? I mean, for one thing, I appreciate him, getting to live for as long as he did. He pretty much defied everyone's expectations. I don't think people expected him to make it to season 2, let alone season 3. And I mean, that was a big one. I mean, he outlived Sophia, Shane, and Dale, plus like half the people at the Herschel's place. And they even thought Andrea was dead. So for a little while, T-Dog had kind of outlived Andrea to like Rick's eyes and Daryl's eyes and everything. So I mean, I was kind of happy that T-Dog at least got to be a part of, Rick's group, and like he became like one of Rick's top lieutenants. And in season 3, You know, he was only in 3 episodes, and he died in the 4th one, but he was getting more lines. He was getting more screen time. So, I mean, he did decent. That's for sure. He did decent. As for, you know, whether or not I think he should have lived longer, it's just tricky because Killer Within is one of my favorite episodes of the season. But, yeah, I think he should have. I think... you know, they could have killed T-Dog off in season 3, maybe like towards the end of season 3, maybe like the last couple of episodes, because I have to say, somewhere in season 2 or season 3, too many characters died. At the end of season 3, between the end of season 3 and the start of season 4, there were just too many dead characters. There was literally the Atlanta 5 at the end of season 3. That's a little harsh. I mean, it started off as like a camp of like 20, 40 people, and there's only going to be the Atlanta 5 at the end of season 3. And, I mean, that's why they kept the Atlanta 5 like season 4, season 5, season 6, because they're like, holy shit, we got to like let the Atlanta survivors, the ones that are left, live a little while. But yeah, between 3 and 4, it definitely felt like there were too many dead characters. That's why, you know, Glenn Mazzara got fired, and in season 4 felt like kind of a reboot of the series. You know, you have to think, in season 2, all right, there's like Sophia's death. I think that's in episode 7 or 8. Well, I mean, she had died earlier, but that was the episode. It was either season 2, episode 7 or episode 8, where Walker Sophia comes out of the barn. And, you know, we as the audience and the characters, we all realize that she's dead. She's gone. She's been a walker this whole time. When we thought she was possibly just out there or dead. Nope, she's been a walker in Herschel's barn for a while, you know. And that was like the middle of season 2. And then in season 2, episode 11, Dale dies. And then in season 2, episode 12, Shane dies. And then there's just episode 13, and that's the finale of season 2. So... season 3, there's episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and then episode 4. Lori and T-Dog died. So in literally like the span of 7 episodes, we lose Shane, Dale, T-Dog, and Lori. In the span of 7 episodes, and this is a show that's going to be like 200 episodes. Like, did we lose too many characters in that short little span? I kind of feel like we did. Although I do feel like Killer Within is a strong episode, and it's one of the best episodes of season 3. I mean, for one thing, that's not saying much. Other than Killer Within and Clear, I can't even think of an episode that I even like. Season 3 was pretty weak. You know, they killed off Lori and T-Dog, I think, because they wanted to like have a strong episode, and they wanted to reaffirm, or whatever the word is, that no one's safe and keep the audience on the edge. But then season 3 was such a shit fest with like nothing going on because they had no ideas, and Glenn Mazzara sucked. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Sure, it was a good episode, but then afterwards we had Rick being crazy and talking to ghosts, and the governor being the governor, and Andrea being Andrea, and just all that crap. Maybe that double death should have been like delayed for like season 3, episode 8, or you know, something like that. I mean, I like the idea of Lori dying. Maybe it should have just been Lori. Maybe they should have been like not bloodthirsty and just killed off Lori. That way, maybe it has Lori redeem herself a little bit more. Because if you think about it, if Killer Within season 3, episode 4 was just completely dedicated to Lori's death, she would have gotten a bigger role in the episode, and maybe she would have been able to redeem herself a little bit more. Because with the way they did it, they kill off Lori and T-Dog, and it's supposed to crush the survivors. But Lori's redemption was just kind of like sort of forced and last second and kind of out of nowhere. I mean, she was just kind of bitchy in season 2. I'm not one of those extreme Lori haters. I don't hate her for like some of the reasons that other people hate her. I'm going to discuss that in the Lori video. But basically, the big thing that made me hate Lori was when she told Rick to kill Shane, and then Rick kills Shane, and she's like, oh, "How dare you! I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore." In season 3, she's remorseful, and she's sad, and she wants to redeem herself, and she wants to make things up with Rick, and then she and T-Dog die in the same episode. It almost kind of just seemed like last second and forced for Lori to redeem herself, kind of half-assed maybe. I think if maybe they had just dedicated the entire episode to the birth of Judith and the sacrifice of Lori, and kept T-Dog involved in the plot line, that might have made for a better episode. And then we could have T-Dog for the rest of season 3. I mean, what was T-Dog going to do? Make season 3 worse? You might as well keep him. He was already becoming like a meme and becoming popular for living so long. Just imagine T-Dog living through most of season 3. I'm okay with T-Dog dying in season 3, but maybe like towards the end. I mean, a lot of people feel like between Merle and Andrea dying, that was a bit much. There was literally just the Atlanta 5 after that. So maybe like swap Merle with T-Dog. Have T-Dog die in season 3, episode 15. And then Merle lives to season 4. And you can kill Andrea in the finale. Keep that the way it is, because her character was so badly written and so out of character that basically too much damage was done, and she pretty much needed to be put out of her misery like a dog with rabies. But Merle should have been kept for season 4. You could have killed T-Dog in season 3, episode 15, and that way we'd have a lot of T-Dog throughout season 3. He was getting more lines. He was one of Rick's top lieutenants. Like, he and Daryl and Glenn and Rick had this bromance thing going on. I would have liked to have seen a lot more T-Dog scenes. I know he wasn't a big character, but season 3 wasn't even good. You might as well have just kept them. I understand what they were going for with Killer Within and the double death and everything, but they had just pretty much killed off Dale and Shane just a few episodes prior. Those were huge characters, huge parts of the Atlanta group. Maybe with T-Dog and Lori dying so early in season 3, that was like trimming too much, too much fat being trimmed off, and maybe just dedicate the episode to Lori, keep T-Dog alive for most of season 3, and like have T-Dog be a part of the fight with the governor. I mean, Rick needed soldiers anyway. Like, it was like 8 people, like 5 men, some women, a baby against like the governor and 50 people. Keeping T-Dog might have like made it look more realistic. I don't know what Rick was thinking he was going to fight the governor and his people. The only reason they survived season 3 was because Merle sacrificed himself and killed like 20 men single-handedly. That was the only reason they had a shot. Rick was going to get them all killed. So having T-Dog as like a soldier for like most of season 3 would have been kind of cool. But, T-Dog could have died like that. He could have died during a battle with the governor. And like I said, T-Dog could have gotten Merle's death in season 3, episode 15. Keep Andrea the way it was. Have Merle die in season 4. Season 4, episode 8, Too Far Gone. That way some of these characters that were kind of underused, they could have lived longer, and maybe, the whole Atlanta 5 thing wouldn't have been so jarring. You would have the Atlanta 6 with Merle in season 4. So, yeah. Also, some people might know this already, but the original plan in season 3, episode 4 was to kill Lori and Carol. That's right, Lori and Carol. Now keep in mind, I'm talking about season 3, episode 4. Carol was still just kind of, she was still kind of the meek survivor that she was, learning how to be strong, and she was learning how to kill and everything. But, she had still been Carol from season 1 and 2. That was what fans mostly remembered her from. And they were planning on just killing her off along with Lori. They were going to keep T-Dog. But I think Sarah Wayne Callies, the actress that played Lori, she's the one that convinced them to not kill Carol. So they killed T-Dog instead of Carol. Now, I'm not going to say that they made the wrong decision. Obviously Carol's great. I love Carol. I love Melissa McBride. Carol's great. But my point is that there were plans for T-Dog to live beyond season 3, episode 4. There were plans. There were concepts of T-Dog living past season 3, episode 4. They already had plans for it. So it was not set in stone that T-Dog was going to die so early into season 3. There were plans for him to live longer, so yeah, I know he's not a huge character, but I think it would have been kind of cool to just, dedicate Killer Within to Laurie's death and Laurie's sacrifice for Judith. Keep T-Dog as like a soldier, one of Rick's lieutenants for most of season 3, and then maybe kill him off instead of Merle. Keep Merle alive for season 4. Just having those switching those around, I think it would have made things more well-rounded, and the Merle and T-Dog characters would have gotten more material, and I think fans would have been happier with that. So yeah, I think T-Dog should have died in like season 3, episode 15 instead of Merle. That way he would have gotten more material, and we would have gotten that original character in season 3 for a long time. And I think it would have just been for the best. But yeah, unfortunately, we'll never know, because that's history. He's been dead for a while. Season 3 was 6 years ago, but still, I don't know. It's still cool to talk about. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Right now we are at 316 subscribers. My goal is to try to get to 400 in the next few months. So just remember, every subscriber counts, every bit of support matters, and is very appreciated. Hopefully in the next few months we can get to that 400 goal. But yeah, anyway, with all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.